So here's the second video in elementary algebra for 2.7. We'll call it 2.7b as in boy. And we're going to start with some mixture problems. So continuing with just practicing these story problems. Example 3. How much of a 30% solution, in fact I'm going to take a picture of that. Okay, so there's the problem. How much of a 30% alcohol solution and a 60% alcohol solution must be mixed to get 15 gallons of a 50% alcohol solution? So what we've got is we've got this container, and there's 30% alcohol in this, and then there's 70% something else. We have another container that has 60% alcohol and 40% of something else. Well, we're going to dump a little bit of this and a little bit of this into a container so that it has a 50% alcohol amount. So that means we're going to have to dump probably more of this, because if we just dump this in there, we get 30%. So we have to dump a bunch of this in there to raise that 30 to a 50. So that's what we're looking for. In fact, we're not only looking for that, we're looking for how much of liquid are we going to have, which we've already been told 15 gallons. So what we're looking for is how much of this and how much of this are we going to have to dump into here to get 15 gallons of a 50% alcohol solution. So that's the information. That's what we're looking for. So let's go ahead, and again, the book uses a chart, and I kind of like using these charts or these tables. So let's see what we've got. So we've got our 30% solution and our 50% solution, or I'm sorry, let's say our 60% solution. So this is our 60, and then we've got our mixture that we're looking for. So our 50% solution is here. Alright, so number of gallons. That's what we're looking for, right? We don't know, except we know this is 15, right? We know that our end is 15 gallons, but we don't know the 30, so we're going to call it X. Do we know this? How much of this we're going to have to put in? No, but we know we're going to end up with 15, and if we take this away from it, we'll end up with this. So if this were 7, it would be 15 minus 7 would be 8. So this would be 7 and this would be 8. Add them up and you get 15. But we don't know what that is, so let's call it 15, which is what we're going to end up with, minus our 30% solution quantity. And that will be how much we have in the 60. Alright, so that's number of gallons total. Let's look at gallons of alcohol. Alright, so if this is a 30% solution, if we take 30% of our total in this container, we will get just alcohol. So if we take 30% of X, we'll have in that first container just how much alcohol is in there. And when we take our 60% times how much is in that container, we'll have just our alcohol there. And over here we said we wanted a 50% alcohol solution, so 15% of how many gallons we have here will give us just how much alcohol is in there. 50% of that 15 is going to be just pure alcohol, and the other half is going to be who cares what. So again, let's change these to decimals. Okay, so let's see that everything is there correctly. So what we're looking for is the alcohol here equals the amount of alcohol here. So if we need to add these two together, and when we add those two together, we'll get this solution. So let's do this in green here. 0.30x these are probably the hardest ones. Okay, so all this is going to give us is the alcohol content. It's not going to give us anything else because we really don't care about anything else. So it's just going to give me the alcohol content. So let's go ahead and do this. 0.30x plus 0.6 times 15 is going to be 9. 0.6 times negative x is negative 0.6x equals 0.5 times 15 is 7.5. Let's keep going. We can combine this with this. So 0.3 minus 0.6 is negative 0.3. Okay, so I'm going to move this up a little bit. Let's move this stuff just kind of out of the way. There we go. Now we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. Oops, there's a 7.5. Negative 0.30x equals 7.5 minus 9 is negative 1.5. And remember, if you have a negative on both sides, you can just make it go away. Divide by 0.3. Divide by 0.3. That goes away. And 0.3 divided by 0.5 is equal to 5. So my x is 5. And remember what I said x was clear up here in our little table. Let me see if I can get our table back here. Okay, so there's our table. So x is the amount that we have to add to this amount to get this amount. So what did we just find out? We find out that x is 5. So that means this is 15 minus 5 is 10. Well, if we take this and add them up, we get our 15, so that must be right. So we need to add 5 gallons of that, 10 gallons of that, in order to get 15 gallons there. Okay, so again, like I say, these are the hardest ones, these ones on mixtures. So if they're not coming real easy, that's okay. We'll just keep practicing them. Alright, so next video is going to have to do with triangles.